anything that's, say, made out of PU, that is made out of plastic and chemicals, is very damaging to the environment. But again, they're marketed to the general public as being vegan leather. That's also kind of questionable, because fine, yes, you're saying it doesn't come from an animal, but at the same time doesn't mean that it's more environmentally friendly, right?
Welcome to Mindful Businesses, presented by Sarani, and I'm your host, Vidya Iyer. In our podcast, we bring to you brands which are mindful in their practices and processes. A mindful business adopts and employs sustainable social, economic, and environmental practices. Today we have with us Shruti Ashok, founder of Inai, Buy with Love. She joins us from Chennai, India. Welcome, Shruti.
Thank you so much.
So your dad is in the leather business. What does he do?
So about, I'd say 25, 30 years ago, my dad, he accidentally got into the leather industry. He does exports. So we manufacture affordable luxury leather brands based in Europe. So mainly France and the UK. So majority of the leather factories that you find in India focus on the lower end part of the industry, your cheaper quality made, lower price products, whereas we make the higher end products. So the quality, the ethical part of it, our factory passes through a lot of audits and regulations and a lot of things before, the factory can even qualify to manufacture for certain brands in Europe or, affordable luxury brands. So he's been doing this for 25, 30 years. He has gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, which I, learned from him, which I've put across into my brand. So that's what he's been involved in for the past couple of years. Where
does leather generally come from, not specifically to your father's factory? Is it considered a byproduct of the meat industry, or is it our animals killed for the purpose of making leather goods?
The leather, generally it depends again from the kind of leather that you're talking about. When you're talking about, say, cow leather, it's mainly a byproduct of the meat industry, because the beef industry itself is a very, very massive industry worldwide. So leather can come from various parts. Leathers made in India, from Italy, from Brazil. Because of the beef industry, produce a lot of leather. Again, if you talk specific to exotic leather, it could be, like your in your Hermes bags, crocodile leather or ostrich leather, certain other exotic leathers as they call them. Those are specifically for the fashion industry. Those animals aren't a byproduct of anything. They're raised for a specific purpose, being the fashion industry. So again, in India, I'm not sure if you're aware, exotic leathers are banned. And again, we only deal with leathers that are a byproduct of the meat industry.
Why does leather get such a bad rap?
I often have this question, I kind of even question myself at times about leather. But again, leather as an industry, if you take it, for example, even if you take polyester or any material that is considered not environmentally friendly, there are a lot of factors that go into it, right? So leather in itself, if you look at leather, yes, okay, it's an animal skin. But at the same time, you have to look at all the other factors involved in it. That same leather can, is a natural product. It lasts for years and years. If you have a good leather bag and you take really, really good care of it, it lasts you for many years in comparison to, say, as they call it, fall leather or PU, which is just purely chemicals, damages the environment, and it barely lasts for a couple of months, right? So you have to look in terms of the usage, the long-lasting, factor of it. And again, how the leather has been tanned. So you have various things. Your leather can be vegetable tan. Now, if it's vegetable tan, it's again more ethical or environmentally friendly than, say, a chrome tan leather. Where is this particular leather tanned? Is it in a tanning leather factory where they follow certain guidelines of the affluence or how the water is managed or how their chemicals or dyes are managed? Because certain leather tanning factories probably don't pass certain environmental guidelines that they should, and certain do. So again, it's their decision to decide, okay, what kind of a tannery do they want to work with? Do they want to be, follow certain guidelines so it can be as environmentally friendly as possible? Again, you have leathers that are not chrome dyed, that are, so again, there are a lot of factors. The average consumer, again, you have certain things that anything that's, say, made out of PU, that is made out of plastic and chemicals, is very damaging to the environment. But again, they're marketed to the general public as being vegan leather. That's also kind of questionable because fine, yes, you're saying it doesn't come from an animal, but at the same time, doesn't mean that it's more environmentally friendly, right?
Right.
Because you probably end up buying that same, PU bag, like say 3 or 4 of them in the, matter of say 4 months because they don't last. Whereas you buy one good leather bag that lasts you for years and years.
Yeah.
So you need to look into that part of also the sustainability of it.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of misconception when it comes to leather. And yes, I mean, I love animals. I use leather. I care for animals. I have dogs at home. So, I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of, misconception. And again, certain brands, try to use certain terms as vegan leather and market it in a better sense and try to, give a bad rap to leather. So, I mean, it's up to each person. Certain people don't use, leather for religious purposes, right?
True.
So at Inai, what we do differently from other brands is we use upcycled leather. So we choose to only work with discarded, excess stock leather, the waste leather that find at factories from their pattern cutting stage. So in a way, we're trying to do our best at being as sustainable as we can by using what's already getting wasted and existing in the market rather than spending new resources and energy to produce new leather.
So what you're trying to say is that most people, when they think about leather being bad, they don't think about in a more wider point of view about how damaging the alternatives are. It's very unidimensional. Leather, in fact, is biodegradable as against PU. Isn't that true?
Yes, that's completely right. Yes.
You mentioned that your leather is upcycled. How is it upcycled?
So since we have access to export leather factory, as you know, within the fashion industry, be it the garment industry, the bag industry, there's a lot of wastage of material in the manufacturing stage itself. So during the pattern cutting stage, you have to follow certain patterns for anything, be it a t-shirt, be it a bag, be it a wallet, etc. So in that stage itself, there's a lot of good quality material that gets wasted, and generally it's not used. It's either discarded or maybe sold to, torn into bits and made into something else. So what we do is we take that good quality excess waste, going to be discarded anyway. And we also there's a lot of stock leather. So factories produce various brands across the world. A certain brand will change that particular style, or they'll say we're done with this color for this season. And then there just ends up being a lot of excess leather that doesn't get used. So we have access to all that stock leather, the discarded waste, the excess bits. So we take even the smallest little bits and make, credit card cases out of them or keychains out of them. In that way, we upcycle the leather. So we don't, go and produce more leather, and we're already making use of the waste in a way. So even we try to achieve zero waste. So even from our products, so when we make, say, a bigger bag and we have waste during our pattern cutting, we make smaller pieces. So we try to cut down waste in our process itself.
So you also use recycled leather too, right? So where is that from?
No. It's just upcycled leather. We don't use recycled leather.
So what's your educational background?
So I went to design school in India. So I studied, the course was called communication design. So, it was a bit of graphic design, illustration, branding, filmmaking, animation, a bit of everything. And then I worked in Mumbai in a design agency, working on branding projects and advertising campaigns and so on for about 3 years. I just started hearing more about sustainability in the fashion industry. I came across the fashion revolution movement. It just kind of hit me, and, I started to look into the kind of brands that I buy clothes from. And I started to question, okay, who's making my clothes? I mean, where is it coming from? How ethical is it? How is it possible that clothes are so cheap? And, I started reading up about it, and I decided, okay, I'm not going to, buy clothes from fast fashion brands anymore. Either going to, cut down on my shopping. So I kind of banned myself from shopping for about a year. I started stitching my clothes from local tailors, and I kind of just did a small project where, I kind of showcased the clothes that I picked up local fabrics from small fabric shops in Mumbai. I did a small project where I showcased one or two of the tailors who stitched my clothes, because I think it's very important to know that, there's a lot of hard work and talented people who sit and make these clothes, right? It's not, just getting churned, by a machine. And these are things that I think as a consumers, we've become, fashion's become such a discarded thing. You're just buying things left, right, center. There's the value for a garment is kind of lost. I kind of looked into that, and then, the thought of, okay, maybe is there something that I can do, make a change in the fashion space. And of course, I thought, okay, maybe I can do something with clothing. Again, I'm not trained as a fashion designer. And of course, I moved back to Chennai, and, I was visiting the factory, and I saw so much leather being wasted, good quality leather from Italy and from India, high premium leather. And I was like, okay, something needs to be done. I have a small team, and we operate in the same studio space as a factory. And our artisans, have been there with us for so many years, and they're so skilled, so talented. We make bags. My dad, export side of the business, makes bags for big brands such that are sold at premium prices. So I said, that same quality I can offer to the Indian consumer, right? But at a fraction of the cost. And it's made in India. It's made for Indians. So who's making it. So that's kind of how it developed.
So has it ever happened that you had to go out and tan some more leather, or all the components are used from upcycled leather?
I think I have a bit of an advantage because I have access to so much leather. And I think if you go to any leather factories, there's going to be tons of leather to use. So there's never been a need to go and get new leather. So what we do is we work with so many different kinds of leathers and different colors and textures and types of leather. So it's also, I guess, you keep seeing us changing a lot of or adding additional colors. And since we have access to such small stocks of certain types of leathers, we can't really replenish that same leather. So we just, move on to a different color or a different texture. So I guess it's also a nice, change for the customer. We try to limit the styles, of course. We keep to very selective styles, but we add on a lot of color choices within those styles. And at the same time, we do get requests from customers where they see a particular product and they're like, okay, do you have this in a green or do you have this in a red? Then we customize according to the customer's requirements as well. So yeah, we've never had to go and, because it goes against the whole brand since we're using upcycled leather, so we wouldn't want to go out and, produce new leather.
Exactly, yeah. So in some ways, there is this like an exclusive line, right? Every time you have to switch because based on what is available. So from the consumer's point of view, he or she gets a limited edition of whatever is available to you at that point in time.
Yes, exactly. It kind of works in that sort of a sense. And again, we do, there are issues, where there's a particular color maybe that was, that a lot of people liked and we sold out, and we get a lot of requests, okay, when is this coming back in stock? But we can't really, if we do come across that leather again, great. But we just have to keep adding on new colors, and the process is different from when you custom order a particular leather and you have immense stock. So here there's a lot of the process is a little different in terms of designing, because again, I'm not traditionally trained as a accessory designer or a fashion designer, so I kind of assess what leather's available and then decide, okay, this leather could work for this product better, or maybe this leather might look nice in a different kind of a style. So I also look into how this material can translate better as a bag or an accessory. And again, yes, we have limited editions, but we don't work. So I've chosen not to go by certain, doing a collection per se. So the same styles that we've had when we launched 2 years back are still the same styles that we have now. I don't want to stick to this whole concept of, okay, it's a seasonal. Each product is made to last or kind of be a classic, timeless piece that can be used today, tomorrow, after a few years, whenever. So we try to add very few styles. Now that we don't have a particular collection or a seasonal collection, we just add on, now and then, or there might be a custom bag request that a customer's placed and it's turned out well that we may add it to the collection.
Your brand promotes choose well, buy less. And how will the consumers achieve that? Is it by what all you've said till now? Your bags made out of good quality leather, last longer, the style is classic, and you don't have the color of the season, like this year's color is, Pantone color is, what was it, the royal blue or the classic blue?
Yes.
So you don't care about that. It's just that what's there and you get it and
So we try to stay away from trends. We're not for following any trends. Purposefully, intentionally kept all the products very minimal and classic. They're very functional pieces, even from the smallest, like a keychain or a credit card case, tote bag. Everything's quite functional and classic because, you want to be able to carry your bag with any kind of outfit because you're changing your outfit every day, but you'd like to maybe use the same bag, say for work every day, or say if it's a party, you'd like to repeat that bag. Trends are something that come and go, and some trends, again, they're trends, right? They're not long lasting. So the whole point is to create something that's a minimal classic bag that, say even 10 years down the line, say you want to take out your bag, you can still use it because it's minimal, it's classic, it's versatile. And again, we choose colors. Say for the smaller pieces, we go with, slightly more fun, bright colors. And the bags are kept intentionally more neutral, like tans and beige and blacks. At the end of the day, those are the kind of bags that we go because you want them to kind of just blend in with outfit. You don't necessarily need a bag to always stand out. Yeah, so, that's something that we follow. We use social media to kind of influence and encourage our customers. So our motto is buy with love. It begins even with our brand name, which is Inai, which is taken from a Tamil word called Inaippu, which means connection. So we try to encourage our customers to take their time to invest in, good pieces that are long lasting, that they really, really want and they're going to use for years to come, and not make impulse purchases. Small things that we say through our social media, through our website. We also ask our customers, to question also their fashion purchases from, various brands as to who's made their bag. So we have a little note with every product that we send out. We always let the customer know who are the artisans behind each product. And we also share intimate details about each artisan who's made the products on our team, where he or she is from, and, how long they've been with us, and a little bit about their likes. So there's more of a connection, and there's more of a value behind the product that you've purchased. And we've noticed also a lot of customers appreciate that, and and those are things that attract them to our brand also.
So there is Inaippu between the customer and the craftsman.
Yes, that's correct. That's what we aim for.
Talk about the craftsmanship. The leather industry even now is fairly labor intensive. So are your craftsmen traditional Indian artisans, or do you train them, or did they work with your dad and then move on to working with you?
All the artisans I work with have been working. They initially, of course, worked with my dad in our export unit of the factory, but they've came with minimal experience, and they've learned throughout the years. I think they've been with us for probably most of them since the first few years that the export factory was started by my dad. So they've gained a lot of experience, and there's a lot of, and each person has certain things that they contribute. Since me not being from a traditional, a fashion background, I have to, give a lot of credit to my master craftsman because he's taught me a lot. He has all those experiences throughout the years, so I learn a lot from him. And I have to be honest, without him, I don't know how much would have happened. So he helps me with a lot of, questions or doubts I might have in terms of construction of a product and the manufacturing of it. And again, everything is done in-house in our studio. We don't outsource a single thing. The leather and the trims that we, get from tanneries, since we don't have a tannery of our own. But everything else, from the cutting stage to the stitching stage to the edge coloring to the quality checks, everything is done in-house. So you can kind of trust and you know where your product is coming from and who the people are behind the product.
So where do you sell your products? Are they primarily only in India or?
So currently, yes, we're focused mainly on India. We sell on our website, inaistory.com. We do have plans to sell internationally. We do get a few customers who do contact us for international orders, which we take. We haven't officially started international delivery yet on our website. But again, if we do get an international an order outside of India, we do take it. We also sell on a few other sites in India, and we sell in few boutiques in Chennai and Bangalore. But yeah, the plan is to start expanding outside India.
Thank you, Shruti, for coming on Mindful Businesses and sharing how waste can be made into something so beautiful.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really lovely talking to you.
If you're a creator of a mindful brand or would like to recommend a mindful brand to be featured on our show, send us a message on our Facebook or Instagram page. We recorded this podcast at Radio Vani Studio in Mumbai, India. Tatum Gale composed the music for this podcast. This is Vidya Iyer for Mindful Businesses.